Hello everyone, welcome to Math Facilitator. As a part of PolySet series, today we are going to start our physical science syllabus. In that, today we are going to learn the first chapter of our physical science, that is reflection of light at curved surfaces. So before getting into the session, I would like to give you a small information about the notes I am displaying now. These notes are one-shot notes and these are very easy to learn, and these are written in a simple language so that you all can understand it easily. So these notes contain each and every concept of your physical science subject, and everything is explained in a brief and detailed manner. So you can easily grab the information from these notes and you can learn quickly and easily from these notes. These notes are not only for the students who are preparing for their PolySet entrance examination, but also for the students who are preparing for their 10th exams. So to get these notes, we are providing the link in the description box. If you click that link, you will be directed towards our blog, and in that blog you will find these notes and you can learn from there. Okay, now let's quickly get into our session. As I said before, we are starting our first chapter, reflection of light at curved surfaces. So firstly, what is spherical mirrors? Spherical mirror is a mirror that has the shape of a piece cut out of a spherical surface. Okay, so these spherical mirrors are classified into two types. One is concave mirror and second type is convex mirror. So firstly, we will identify the pole, center of curvature and focus of the concave mirror. Okay, this is a concave mirror. As you can see, this is a concave mirror. This is a concave mirror, and this line passing from the concave mirror is called as principal of axis. And this line where it is touching the mirror, that is the line where the principal of axis and mirror is meeting, that point is called as pole and it is denoted by a letter P. And after that we are locating a point F and this is focus. After that we are locating a point C and this point is center of curvature. And next we are identifying the pole, center of curvature and focus for convex mirror. So this is a convex mirror. Okay, this is a convex mirror, and you can find the difference between a concave mirror and a convex mirror. Okay, and same as that, a principal of axis is passing from the mirror, and the point where the principal of axis and the mirror is meeting, that point is called as pole and it is denoted by a letter P. And after that we are locating a point F, that is focus, and after that we are locating a point C, that is center of curvature. Now we will learn what is the center of curvature and focus are. Okay, now firstly we will see what is the center of curvature. Center of curvature is nothing but these blue lines are incident rays. Okay, these blue lines are incident rays which are falling on the concave mirror. Okay, these blue lines are incident rays which are falling on the concave mirror, and the red lines which are drawn from the incident rays are called as normals. These red lines are meeting at a point on the principal axis, right? These four red lines are meeting at single point, that point on the principal axis. That point is called as center of curvature. Okay, so as you can see here in the definition, the point of intersection of all normals drawn from the point of incidence to the mirror is known as center of curvature. So the center of curvature can be drawn using a ray diagram. So this is a ray diagram. Okay, now let us see what is a focal length. Focal length of the mirror is equal to the half of the radius of curvature, right? From this ray diagram, you can easily say that focal length is equal to the half of the radius of curvature. So, radius of curvature is nothing but the distance between the pole and the center of curvature. This is the radius of curvature. And focal length is nothing but it is half of the radius of curvature. The radius of curvature is denoted by letter R and focal length is denoted by letter F. Okay. So this focal length is from pole to focus. Okay. So as the definition defines, the formula will become as focal length of a mirror will be r by 2, right? It is half of center of curvature. So obviously the formula will be r by 2. Okay. So next there is a question based on the focal length. Let me read out the question for you. If the radius of the curvature of mirror is 30 centimeters and then finds the focal length of the mirror. So he has given us the radius of curvature of the mirror, right? It is 30 centimeters. So firstly we will write the radius of curvature of a mirror is 30 centimeters. Then we know the formula for the focal length, right? Focal length of a mirror equal to r by 2. It is half of the radius of curvature. So r by 2. So he have provided us the value of r, right? He has provided the value of r. So we are substituting the value of r in this equation. So we are substituting here 30. So 30 by 2 equal to 15 centimeters. So finally we are getting the focal length of the mirror as 15 centimeters. So this is the way how we have to find the focal length. Okay. Now we will see the experiment to know the material, to know the nature of the image formed when an object is placed at different places on the principal axis. Okay, we are using a concave mirror to present to do this experiment. Now we will see the materials required for the experiment. We are taking a concave mirror with known focal length. Okay, so next we are taking a V stand, a screen, object or a candle and a meter scale. Okay, so we have to take few precautions for every experiment, and here also there are two precautions to perform this experiment. So let us quickly see what are the precautions. So we have to adjust the screen without disturbing the incident rays and reflected rays. Okay, without disturbing the rays we have to adjust the screen to get the sharp image. Okay, next precaution is the size of the object adjusted must be as per the height of the lens placed on the V stand. Okay, the size should be as per the lens placed on the V stand. So these are the precautions. Now let us see the procedure to perform this experiment. So firstly we have to place the mirror on the V stand. Then we have to place the object on the principal axis at different positions. So at different positions from the mirror. Okay, these positions might be beyond center of curvature, at center of curvature, or between center of curvature and focus, or yet focus, or between focus and pole. So now, and we have to adjust the object to get sharp image on the screen. So we have to adjust the object until we get the sharp image on the screen. Okay, and as soon as we get the sharp image on the screen, we have to measure the object distance and image distances and tabulate them in the following table. Okay, this is the table, and in this we have to tabulate the object distance, image distance, magnified or diminished image, and erected or inverted image. So object distance is nothing but the distance between the object and the pole. Okay, and image distance is nothing but the distance between the image and the pole. That is the whenever the image is formed, there will be a distance between pole and image, right? So we have to measure that distance and we have to note down it here. And next, coming to magnified image. Magnified image is nothing but whenever we get a image larger in size than the original object, then it is called as magnified image. And diminished image is nothing but quite opposite to magnified image. Diminished image means it is smaller in size than the original size of object. Okay, now erected image is upright of the object, that is it will be upright like the object. Inverted image is it will be upside down, like it will be ulta. So the image will occur on the screen as upside down. That is called as inverted image. Okay, so we have to place the object at different positions on the principal axis, and we have to note down the object distance, image distance, magnified or diminished image, or erected or inverted image. So we have to note down these four columns with changing the positions of the object. Okay, by this we will know the nature of the image. Okay, now let us see the ray diagrams and rules to draw the ray diagrams for spherical mirrors. Okay, so there are four rules for drawing the ray diagrams for spherical mirrors. The first rule is all the rays that are parallel to the principal axis gets reflected such that they pass the focal point of the mirror. Okay, if you see in this diagram, this is a ray coming and falling on the concave mirror, right? This ray is reflected back from the focal point. Okay, this is what the first rule is saying us. Every ray that is parallel to the principal axis gets reflected and they pass from the focal point. Okay, and in case of convex mirror, this is the ray falling on the mirror, and this is a reflected ray, and if you extend it backside it will meet the focal point, right? So this is the first rule. Coming to the second rule, all the rays that passes through the focal point of the mirror will travel parallel to the principal axis after reflection. So after traveling from the focal point, as we said, every ray is traveling, reflecting back and traveling from the focal point, right? So after traveling from the focal point, the ray is again reflected and it is traveling parallel to the principal axis. Yes, is it parallel? Yes, it is traveling parallel to the principal axis, and this is in case of concave mirror, and in case of convex mirror it is also same. You can see, like, this is again reflecting back ray, and if we extend this backwards it is meeting the focal point and it is again reflecting back like this, and it is parallel to the principal axis. Okay, so this is second rule. Third rule is a ray coming from the tip of the object passing through the center of the curvature to meet the mirror. After reflection, the ray traces its path. So the after reflection, the ray again traces its own path because the light ray is falling 90 degrees to the mirror. So this happens. So it traces its own path again. So this is about the third rule, and this is concave mirror. You can see it is tracing its own path again here, and this is about the convex mirror, and here also you can see it is again tracing its own path, and in both cases it is meeting the center of curvature, right? Now let us see the fourth rule. The fourth rule is a ray coming from the object passing through the principal axis to meet the mirror, it will get reflected along the principal axis. So consider a ray passing from the principal axis. So you know n number of rays will be falling on the mirror. So if you consider a ray falling through the principal axis on the mirror, okay, so this ray will be reflected back in the same direction, like it will be reflected back on the principal axis only, along the principal axis. Okay, so this is in case of concave mirror and this is in case of convex mirror. So in both cases you see that a ray is falling on the mirror and it is reflected back in the same direction, in the same path, to be particular, in the same path. Okay, so this is the fourth rule to draw the ray diagrams. Okay, now let us quickly see the characteristics of the images by placing the object in different places by using a concave mirror. Okay, so we are observing the characteristics of the images formed. So firstly we will observe the characteristics of the image formed when the object is placed at beyond center of curvature. Okay, so as you can see here in this figure, the object is placed beyond the center of curvature, right? So a light ray is falling from the object onto the mirror and it is reflected back. As we have discussed in the ray diagrams, it is reflected back from the focal point, and if we extend this ray, it is again reflecting back, and a ray is parallel to the principal axis. So the point where this reflected ray and the focal point ray are meeting, that ray, at that intersection point, the image will be formed. Okay, at that intersection point, a image is formed. So now let us see the characteristics of this image formed. So the first characteristics is it is inverted. So as I explained before, inverted means it is upside down. So the object is in like this and the image is in this way. So it is upside down. And second characteristics is enlarged than the object. Enlarged in the sense it is larger in size than the original size of the object. Third one is it is real image. Real image is nothing but which can be seen on the screen. Okay, which can be seen on the image which can be seen on the screen. Okay, next fourth characteristic is formed between focus and center of curvature. So you can clearly see in this, the image is formed between focus and center of curvature, right? So these are four characteristics when we are placing the object at beyond center of curvature. So next we will see what will be the characteristics of the image formed when the object is placed at center of curvature. So this is the ray diagram for that. We are placing the object at center of curvature. As you can see here, this is the object we are placing at center of curvature. And same explanation for this also. The light ray is falling on the mirror and it is reflected backwards and it is passing from the focus. And if we extend this, again reflecting ray is passing, and where these both rays are meeting, at that point a image is formed. Okay. Now let us see the characteristics of this image. It is inverted. Inverted in the sense it is upside down of the original object. And the second one is equal to the size of the object. It is equal to the size of the object. As you can see here, the object size is equal to the image size. That is, it is not magnified, neither it is diminished. It is same as the object. Okay. Next, it is a real image. That is, it can be seen on the screen. And fourth one is formed at center of curvature. Right. If you observe this diagram, the image is formed at the center of curvature and the object is placed in the same position, that is center of curvature. Okay. This is about the characteristics when we are placing the object at the center of curvature. Now let us see the characteristics of image formed when the object is placed between focus and center of curvature. So as you can see in this diagram, we are placing the object between focus and center of curvature, and we are getting a image beyond center of curvature, right? Let us quickly see the characteristics. The first characteristics is it is inverted, that is it is upside down. And it is diminished in the sense it is smaller in size than the original size of the object. Third one is it is real image, that is it can be seen on the screen. Fourth one is formed beyond C. As I said, it is formed beyond the C. Okay. Let us see the next characteristics when the image is formed when the object is placed at focal focal point of focus. Next, so this is the image. This is the ray diagram. So in this you can observe that the object is placed. This is the object. This is the object. The object is placed at the focus, and the light ray is falling on the mirror like this. This is the light ray falling on the mirror from the object, and it is reflected back from the focal point, and if you extend this, another ray is also reflecting back from the center of curvature. So let us see the characteristics of this one. So two reflecting rays are parallel to each other. Yes, two reflecting rays are parallel to each other, right? These two rays, these are two reflecting rays, these two are parallel to each other, right? So this is the first characteristics. Second one is they do not intersect if extended either sides. Yes, it is also absolutely right. So there is no point of intersection, right, to form an image. Like if you extend these two rays anyway, upside or downside, there are no intersecting points for these two reflecting rays. The third one is so we cannot say whether they are real or virtual image. Yes, so if here we cannot we are unable to get an intersect point, and we are unable to say the uh, image is a real or virtual image. So real image in the sense it can be seen on the screen, and virtual image which cannot be obtained on a screen. Okay, so we are unable to judge that whether the image is a real image or a virtual image. Coming to fourth characteristics, uh, so we can say that the image is enlarged and formed at the infinite. So we can assume that the image is enlarged in the sense it will be larger in size than the original size of the object, and it will be formed at a infinite. Okay, so next we will see the characteristics of the image formed when the object is placed between pole and focus. So let us see the ray diagram. This is the ray diagram. In this, we are placing the object in between the pole and the focus, right? This is the object, and the light ray from this is falling on the mirror. This is the light ray, and it is reflected back through the focus, and another and if you extend this, another light ray is falling and reflecting back like this, and it is center of curvature, and it is traveling from center of curvature. So as you can see, image is formed outside, that is backside of the pole. This is the image. Okay, if you draw the intersecting points of both the rays towards backside, you will get a intersecting point. At this point you are getting a image. Okay, let us quickly see the characteristics of this image. Firstly, it is erected in the sense um, it is in the same position like the object. So it is not inverted, like it is upright as of the object. Second characteristic is enlarged, that is it is enlarged in size, that is it is increased in size than the original size of the object. Next, third one is virtual image formed. So this image formed cannot be seen on the screen. Okay, so it is called as virtual image. Next, we will see the characteristics of the image formed by a concave mirror when an object is placed in front of the concave mirror. Okay, so we are placing an object in front of the concave mirror, that is it is placed here. This is the object, and this is the image, and as you can see, these are light rays coming and falling on the concave mirror, and if you extend both of them, one is meeting the focus point and one is meeting the center of curvature. So if you draw the intersection point, you will get here, and you will form and image will be formed here. So let us quickly see the characteristics of this ray diagram. Firstly, it is erected, that is it will be upright as of the object. Second one is diminished, that is it is smaller in size than the object. Third one is virtual image, that is it cannot be seen on the screen. Next, these this is the end of the characteristics of the images formed when we are changing the positions of the object on the principal axis. Okay, so now we will get into the mirror formula. So mirror formula is nothing but 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. This is the mirror formula. So this is the mirror formula, and where f is focal length, u is object distance, and v is image distance. Okay, so this is the mirror formula. So this is the mirror formula, and this is a simple diagram you can understand here. The O in the sense it is object, it is object. Here we are getting a image I, and this is pole, this is focus, and this is center of curvature. And a light ray is passing, a light ray is falling on the mirror from the object, and it is reflected back from the focus. And another light ray, if you extend this, another light ray is falling like this, and the intersection point you are getting a image. So uh, the object distance is calculated as the distance between the object and the pole and the ray, like this. This is the object distance. Okay, this is the object distance, and image distance is v. This is the image distance. This is the image distance from pole to image. Okay, so now let us quickly see the sign convention for spherical mirrors. Sign convention for the parameters related to the mirror equation. So these are the rules for sign conventions. All the distances should be measured from the pole. So as you can see here, every distance is measured from the pole. As I said before, we are measuring the object distance or image distance, both we are measuring from the pole itself, right? So the first rule is all the distances should be measured from the pole. Second one, the distance is measured in the direction of incident light to be taken positive, and those measured in the direction opposite to incident light are taken to be negative. So if this is the direction of incident ray or light ray, right? So the distances measured in the direction of incident ray are taken to be positive. So in this direction, whatever distances we are calculating, that are positive, and whatever we are calculating in the opposite direction, that is in this direction, they are taken as negative. Okay, this is about second one. Now third one is height of object and height of image are positive if measured upwards from the axis and negative if measured downwards. Okay, as you can see here, height of the object if measured from um, positive if measured upwards from the axis. This is the principal axis, right? This is principal axis, and it is positive if you measure upwards from the principal axis, and it is negative if you measure downwards from the principal axis. It might be object height or image height. Okay, next, height of um, next, magnification of spherical mirrors. So magnification of spherical mirrors is done. A magnification shows the changes in the size of the image. A magnification shows the change in the length of the image, right? If a image is magnified, then its size and as well as its length will be magnified, that is, they will be increased. This is about this point. Now magnification is related between object distance and image distance. So magnification is the relation between object distance and image distance. So magnification m equal to minus image distance v by object distance u. So image distance and object distance can also be written as height of the image hi and height of the object h naught. So this is the formula for magnification. Okay. Now let us see the uses of concave mirrors. Concave mirrors are basically used in a dental clinics for checking the teeth, and they are used in microscopes, they are used in security systems, they are also used in preparing the solar cookers. So next, the uses of concave mirrors are, uh, they are used in rear view mirrors in vehicles. Like you will have mirrors in front of your vehicles, right? We are using convex mirror there. And at the junctions of the roads, in shopping malls, at curved roads. Okay, so these are the uses of concave and convex mirrors. Now let us see what will happen if concave mirrors weren't discovered. So the answer for this is, if the concave mirrors were not discovered, the dentist cannot check the teeth, the solar cooker could not be in use, and the car headlights would be different, right? So these all uses will be different. So we have to seek for another thing to fulfill these uses, right? So that will be the consequence if the concave mirror would not exist. So let us see the differences between the real image and virtual image. So real image, it is a inverted image. Inverted in the sense, it will be upside down to the original object. And virtual image is erected image, that is, it will be upright as of the original object. Now second point is, it can be caught on the screen. It can be caught on the screen, and virtual image, it cannot be caught on the screen. Okay. Third point in real image is, it can be formed by using concave mirrors but not with convex mirrors. So these real images can be formed using both convex and concave mirrors, but these virtual images can be only formed real images can be only formed using concave mirrors, but they cannot be formed using convex mirrors. And virtual images can be formed by using both concave and convex mirrors. Okay. Coming to fourth point, it is formed by reflected rays. Okay. This real image is formed by reflected rays, and this virtual image is formed by extending the lines of reflected rays. Right. We have observed here. If you can remember, here I have explained you. We have seen the characteristics. At that time, we have seen the characteristics like virtual image. There we have found that here, here we got a virtual image, right? Yes, here we got a virtual image. So that virtual image we have got by extending the reflected rays, right? Now this is the end of the differences of real image and virtual image. Now let us quickly see the problem related to finding the focal length of the mirror. So this is the problem, and let me read out the question for you all. An object is placed at 12 centimeters distance from the pole of the concave mirror, and the image formed at 4 centimeter from the pole. Find the focal length of the mirror. So here, what values he gave us? He gave us the object distance u, image distance v. So we have to find the focal length. So here you are using mirror formula. The mirror formula is 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. So whenever you get a question on mirrors, you have to quickly draw the ray diagram for that, for easy understanding. So you have to draw a concave mirror, as he have mentioned us, concave mirror. and what he said, an object is placed at 12 centimeters distance from the pole. So you have to place your object here, and the image is formed at 4 centimeters from the pole. So you have to imagine if the image is formed here. So you have to locate 12 centimeters and 4 centimeters, and O dash is image and I dash is O dash is object and I dash is image. Now we have to substitute the values of object distance u and image distance v in this formula. So 1 by f equal to 1 by minus 4 plus 1 by minus 12. We get minus 3 minus 1 by 12 equal to minus 4 by 12, 1 by 3. So it is equal to 1 by 3. So the focal length of the mirror is minus 3. Okay, this is the focal length of the mirror. So this is the end of the first chapter of our physical science. I hope you all understood the today's session, and if you did not subscribe our channel till now, then quickly subscribe our channel for more amazing videos. So please like, share and subscribe to Math Facilitator.